Hello there. What's going on, everybody? We've got ourselves a Droid Tri-Fighter preview today for X-Wing 2nd Edition, and boy, we got a lot of previews this week because we just had a Legion preview yesterday. We got an X-Wing preview today. Maybe we'll get some Armada previews soon also. Very exciting. So we're going to run through all of this. Quick shout out to the sponsor. I want to thank Luxury Playstyle for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out luxuryplaystyle.com. You can get yourself 15% savings if you use code Crabbok VIP. Also, with orders of $35 or more, you're going to get that Crabbok token for free thrown into your order. They got double-sided full metal tokens. They are gorgeous. You're going to love these. Be sure to check them out. All right, the Droid Tri-Fighter finally gets a preview today. We get a look at the dial as well as all of the pilot cards and some of the upgrades. A lot of interesting maneuvers on this particular dial. First off, that caught my eye is that 1-speed Talon roll, which is really cool. That's like a almost it feels like at a speed 1 for a Talon roll. That's almost going to be like one of those really freaky barrel rolls, you know, when you're turning around. So. Yeah, a 1-speed Talon roll is really cool there. We've got the 5 straight, which is white, and 4 straight, which is blue. We've got 3 turns, which are blue, 2 turns, which are blue. So like a lot of turns and straights that are blue. And yeah, but not the 1 straight. So it's a fast ship, and can still do the 1 hard turn, which is also really cool. We also have the 3 and 5K in there too. So a lot of really interesting maneuvers on this particular dial. We've got the basic ship card here. We do have networked calculations, which you are starting to come to expect on Separatist fighters. This is our Colicoid Interceptor at Initiative 1. It looks like that's a lat that it's going after, but I wonder if that's a variation of the lat with those like pylons on the front. Oh no, that's the back. Yeah, it's just like it's more of a, you know, the cannons look a little bit bigger on that one. I wonder if it's just the same lat we have in X-Wing or if it's a slight variation. But either way, good artwork on these as always. But we've got, yeah, 333. It's basically the same basic stats as your Interceptor. It's going to kind of perform in a lot of ways in that role. We have networked calculations, same networked calculations that we've seen before, letting you, if you're flying that swarm, you can spend those calculate tokens off of nearby ships. And that's great. You've got the ability to calculate, evade, target lock, barrel roll into a red evade, or boost into a red calculate. And that's kind of interesting that barrel roll and boost function so differently on this one, in that barrel roll is more the evasive version, whereas boost is more of the offensive version. Well, I mean, calculate can be either way, but yeah, it's interesting that they're not both red calculates, that one is an evade versus the calculate. So that's pretty interesting. We also have a Initiative 3, or I'm sorry, Initiative. I always want to say pilot skill. So it's the X-Wing 1.0 in me for the Separatist Interceptor. Great capital ship stuff going on in the background too. That looks like the surge at Camino when we got those underwater ships kind of dropping out of the sky there, perhaps. Maybe I think that's what that is. Very cool stuff. We're on to some of our named pilots. We've got Dis 347 at Initiative 3. At the start of the engagement phase, you may acquire a lock on an object at range 1 through 3 that has a friendly lock already. I like this ship. I like this ability. I feel like this is an ability that's going to really work well to complement an HMP, the gunship, because those have that ability. They want more locks on their target, and then they get those built-in rerolls based on those locks, which is kind of cool. So I feel like this one is going to, you know, complement that pretty well. And plus, it's a free target lock too, so it frees you up to just be able to take your calculate or your repositioning stuff and not have to worry about your rerolls. You're going to get those rerolls built in on this one as long as everybody else is playing the game properly and doing their target locking, which is nice. His subtitle there is Target Acquired. We also have Dis T81. While you defend or perform an attack, you may spend a calculate token from a friendly ship in the enemy ship's firing arc to change an eyeball to an evade or a hit. Now, this one is very similar to networked calculations already, but we're going to see a card later on that's going to remove the ability to use networked calculations off of nearby ships, and this one will still work. because he can spend those calculate tokens through his individual ability as opposed to network calculations. But even if you're not using that, even if you want to still be able to use networked calculations, this one is still giving you an enhancement on that because you don't have to be as close. So there's like a couple of ways you can run this guy. You can run him as is. It seems like he's able to kind of be on the outside a little bit and still benefit from networked calculations, but he's going to have the added benefit of working better with a card that we're going to see a little bit later on towards the end of this video. At Initiative 5, we've got the Flackafrock prototype. Flackafrock? Flackafrock. I want to say that with a weird voice, like Flackafrock. I don't know. Or it's like Fraggle Rock, if you remember that show. And maybe I'm dating myself here, but Fraggle Rock was pretty cool. So I'm going to call this guy the Fraggle Rock prototype. Yeah, during the system phase, you may spend your lock on a ship to look at that ship's dial. Now, there's not a range requirement on here, which is really interesting, and you can run 2 of these. Now, it's already an Initiative 5 interceptor, right? It's got that good attack, it's got the good defense, and all of that stuff. It's got good maneuverability. Initiative 5's pretty good. We're not getting a 6, we're not getting a true ace here, but this is not bad. So being able to run these just for the initiative alone is nice, but on top of that, being able to additionally predict the ship's dials is going to be really good, especially if you do find yourself going up against another 5 or a 6 as well. I really like that. We can get the limited 3 of these Fearsome Predators at Initiative 3. After placing forces, assign the Fearful Prey condition to 1 enemy ship. Now, the Fearful Prey condition is a unique, but you do have 3 of these, so you're going to have to decide if they're all ganging up on one person. You're going to have to decide who that one person is, if you're running 3, or maybe you're just running 1 of them. But if you're going to run all 3, then, that'd be good, if you're going, if you're going up against, some big nasty ship. And basically, the idea is they're afraid, so they're going to spend a focus every time, even if they didn't need it. Right, and so the Fearful Prey condition states that after you defend against an enemy fearsome predator, if you did not spend at least 1 green token during the attack, gain a strain token. So, if you really want to save that, that focus or evade or whatever, it's going to cost you. And you have to spend it even if you weren't going to need it, which is kind of interesting. Now, with all of these ships, we are going to get the new config for the Intercept Booster. This is going to be a double-sided card. However, this is the only side that really matters because the other side is blank. It can only go on the Droid Tri-Fighter. It's going to give you 3 charge reducing. You got the down arrow on there. It's going to grant you the ability to slam into a red target lock. You do equip this side face up, and during the system phase, you're going to gain a disarm token unless you flip this card. So while this is face up, you are not shooting. This is letting you get into position, which is kind of fun. I think in a normal game, you're probably just going to, if you're going to use this, you might use it just once. But I think in an epic play, if you're playing on a really big game, this could be a super, super fun one to launch yourself totally across the board, which is kind of cool. At the end of the end phase, if you have no active charge, flip this card. So it's going to run out anyway. It's got a limited amount of gas. It's going to run out anyway. It's like those rocket boosters that are going to fall off. And this is the other side. It's detached. Does not have a method to flip back over. So this is basically it's gone, right? So there you go. That's how that works. So it'd be fun. It'd be fun to kind of boost into slam into, in the spot. That's cool. Especially do a 5 and a slam. Boom. That'd be kind of fun. It looks like we're also going to be getting Discord missiles with this one as well, and of course the little buzz droids that come with it. A little throwback to X-Wing 1.0, the XX-23S thread tracers. We first saw these in 1.0 with the Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor. Right, but yeah, this is we're talking about target locks. We're talking about HMP gunship. Also, maybe with having synergy with this ship. This is going to be a missile for those builds that really want a lot of target locks, but don't want to take the actions to take target locks. This is a frontal arc attack. It's going to have 2 charge, range 1 to 3. You attack. You have to have either a focus, a calculate, or a target lock. So pretty easy to fire this one, especially for droids if they're going to be using calculates. Notice the lack of any kind of requirements on here outside of having a missile slot. So this is going to be available to all factions. You're going to spend a charge, and if it hits, each friendly ship at range 1 to 3 of the defender may acquire a lock on the defender, then cancel all die results. This could be, while I mean, it can work with HMPs and all that other stuff. I can also imagine this for a big old droid swarm. This could be crazy, right? I didn't have to say it like that. It's just, it'll be crazy. Yeah, crazy, man. Crazy. This is a really cool talent. The Marg Sable closure. The Marg Sable is a maneuver that Ahsoka invented, where think of a Venator. We're going to use Baby Yoda as a Venator here. He launches squadrons out the top, and think of him like we're going to say that this Darth Vader mask over here is an enemy fleet. Baby Yoda's coming. He's going to turn this way. He's going to like flip. And when his backside is to the enemy fleet, he launches the ships out, and then they turn around, and then they start, boosting, and then he turns, and then boom. Then by the time the enemy fleet sees that squadrons have been deployed, they don't have enough time to react before the enemy squadrons are on them. Thrawn also used this ability, enhancing the squadron's speed with tractor beams as well, to kind of like pulling them, like slingshotting them even faster towards the enemy fleet. Really cool stuff. Anyway, the Marg Sable maneuver is awesome, and I'm hoping it shows up in Star Wars Armada once Clone Wars comes there, but it's nice to see it referenced here. It's not the entire maneuver, but rather it's the act of that individual fighter closing after being launched through a Marg Sable maneuver. Why did I talk about this so much? Because it's going to explain a little bit why the ability does what it does. It's limited to a small or medium ship, so your big old ships can't quite, get slingshotted quite as fast. But after you fully execute a maneuver, so you got to do it clean, you can't crash. If you moved through an obstacle, structure, or huge ship, if you deployed, you may choose an enemy ship in your frontal arc at range 1 to 2. That ship gains a strain token. So you're taking them by surprise, giving them that strain token. And the idea is you're moving through something, so I think you're either getting the gravity burst, kind of doing the same kind of slingshot mechanic there, or being deployed. And I like also how this functions both for regular play and also for epic play, because it totally works if you're being launched out of another ship. I mean, granted, like the Ghost could do something like this with a docked shuttle or something like that. It could do virtually the same thing. But think of a Gazanti launching TIE fighters could do the same thing. So I think that's a really cool little ability there for the Marg Sable. Lastly, we're going to talk about independent calculations, which gives us a new keyword on upgrade cards called standardized. Standardized means that if you use this on one ship, all other ships of the same type in your build have to have the same thing. So if you use this on a tri-fighter, all tri-fighters in your build have to have the same thing, which is interesting. So the requirement is a mod. It's required that you have networked calculations, which actually means that a lot of different ships in the Separatist faction can take this. Your Hyena bombers, your Vulture droids, and your tri-fighter. You got some options on who's going to be able to take this. This is going to replace your networked calculations ability. So that's going to go away. You're going to have independent calculations. It says, while you perform a white calculate actions, you may treat it as red to gain 1 additional calculate token. But other ships cannot spend your calculate token using network calculations ship ability. Now, the second part is more relevant if you're using a mixed fleet. So if you run this on your droid tri-fighter, that means if you also have, Hyena bombers, for example, or Vulture droids, they can't use their network calculations to get yours, because he is doing independent, so he's kind of cut off from the group, right? Air gapped. Think of it like that. Now, the benefit here is that you're a little bit more of a solo operative here. So this can be something that's good if you're planning on having a mixed fleet, but you do want that one to be off by himself. So I'm going to go back to this dude over here. For a T-81. While you defend or perform an attack, you may spend a calculate token from a friendly ship in an enemy ship's firing arc to change one of those results. This still works with that ability because you're not referencing the networked calculations functionality. So if you have 2 of these, you can have somebody else kind of running that. Maybe and he would have to be running that too in theory. If they were both tri-fighters, but if you ran out of calculate tokens, you could still spend somebody else's if they were if the firing arc applied. So that's kind of interesting, and I think that's all the upgrades they showed us today. That's the Droid Tri-Fighter. It's definitely pretty cool. If you are new here, there's still time left to enter to win that giveaway for the $25 Amazon gift card. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. Also, be sure to check out links down in the description. We talked about luxury playstyle. There's a link to that website down there. Also, if you want to check out my website, if you want to check out my Discord, hop in there and chat. And it's a great way to get involved. Sometimes I stream Star Wars Squadrons. You can find information on all of that down in the description below. If you want shirts or any merch that helps support the channel, like this one, for example, there's links to my Teespring store down in the description below. If your dice are misbehaving, for example, there's a bad dice bag to rehabilitate them, put them on carbonite. If you're looking for masks or anything like that, we've got all kinds of cool stuff down there in the description below. So check those links if you're looking for more ways to learn more or help support the channel or whatever. And speaking of supporting the channel, patrons, big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much for you guys' continued support. And to everybody else, thank you for watching. And as always, have a great day.